All right, I'm back, and we are talking to Tony Myers today. He has graced us with his presence, and Tony is the guru of money. That's what I call him. He is all things financial, and the best thing to do is to turn it over to Tony. He's going to give us a little background on himself, and then we're going to dive right into a lot of questions so you get your answers on all things finances and dentistry. So, Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you
All
became
right.
the money guru.
Well, all right. So it's not as glamorous as you might think. I went to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville as a communications major in broadcasting.
All
And
right.
so when I got out of there, I went in to the ministry. I worked for a ministry called the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I was a high school director here in the Nashville, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee area. I had 36 counties. But while I was there, our board of directors was loaded with a bunch of financial guys. They were stockbrokers, commodities brokers, real estate investors, and Tina and I, we have 9 children. And when we started out in our marriage, she was an engineer at IBM. She was the breadwinner. And once we started having children, she said, I don't want to work. I just want the home to be my place of work. And so I knew at $11,000 a year in the ministry, I was not going to be able to provide and put much food on the table. So I took a guy to lunch that was on our board, and he was a very successful financial manager here in town with now what is UBS, but it was a smaller regional firm. His name was Chick, and I said, Chick, man, do you think I could do what you do? And his quote to me was, a monkey could do what I do. So I saw where he lived. I saw, how he participated in his family. He never missed a ball game, and we just have one little baby at home. I thought, man, will you help me? And he helped me. He helped me go through the licensing process. I took my Series 7. I went to work for a company. Fast forward 20 years.
Wow.
This is in the early 2000s, and one of my clients, a periodontal group here in Nashville, was using a company out of Dallas. And I was really impressed with this company. They provided accounting services, they provided payroll services, they provided third party administration, they provided insurance, attorney, legal services, estate planning services. And I just one day was working with this client, and typically what I would do is go in and I would see where they're spending their money, see, if I could help them save money, make them aware that they're spending too much money, kind of using a thing we call best practices, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed what they were spending per month to this company in Dallas. And it was exorbitant, I thought. I just was like, man, what do they do for you? So at the time, this periodontal group only had 2 periodontists, and the senior doc said, hey, man, if you want to sit in on my monthly coaching call, you can do that and kind of get a feel for what they do. And I was right up front, and I was like, man, if I could mirror some of these things, I'll do it for you for half that much.
Yeah.
So, and he said, okay, yeah. So he told the coach every month, hey, I've got this guy, Tony Myers here. He's been helping us with kind of some budgeting, that kind of stuff. And I listened to him every month, and it was kind of goals and goal setting. Some of the stuff I was trying to do was crossing over a little bit.
Right.
And then this particular company in Dallas, every year it's mandatory that you fly to Dallas to their
Yeah.
home office. You spend a half a day with them going through all of these areas of money.
Right.
Account they so you they have an appointment with your accountant or their accounting services. Have an appointment with your attorney or their attorney if you don't have one. You have an appointment with their insurance guy or gal. You have an appointment with 401k. You kind of get their life together and set goals in that half a day, once a year thing. So I go down there with them.
Yeah.
And when I get down there, I am nothing but impressed. I'm like, man, this is a well oiled machine. And on the way back, I just said, hey, man, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to write down as many of your friends that participate with this company. He goes, oh, man, I got a bunch. I said, and give me their name because I'll do it for a third of what they're
Wow.
charging you. I was so impressed with this company. And so through that, also with some kind of economic tools that I've been privy to in the early 90s. It's called the velocity of money principle. It takes a non traditional look at everything we do with our money, right?
Yeah.
And then you verify it with calculators, and you start to discover that um, 401ks and pensions, they're great, but you better understand the cost of them. Are there better ways to get to retirement? A lot of my docs feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to do great with a 401k profit sharing plan, and it
Right.
maxes out around 53,000. But then
Yeah.
they got to put in 30,000 for their employees, and it's all because it's deductible. And so I tell my clients, yes, I've learned that it's deductible, but it's really deferred. You got to pay taxes on that one day. And the 30,000 you put in for your employees, it still costs you 60% of that. You get a 40% tax deduction, but 60% is still there, right? So 18,000. So 53,000 you put away that will grow and be taxed one day,
Yep.
but you got 18,000 working against it. So that 53,000, right? It's got to do 30% before you break even. Is that the best way to get to retirement? Are there better ways to set up your pension plan for your employees and for you? And there are. But once you expose them to that, the other thing is like insurance. My clients give away so much money in insurance,
Yeah.
so much money in insurance. And so we talk about the cost of that and the lost opportunity cost. So we go into a lot of economic things like that. So that's what my company does. The best way to look at it is we see what they're doing with their money. We take the same money. They're going to spend the same amount.
Yep.
They're going to take the same risk. I derive a risk tolerance from what they're doing with their money. You know, some people, they love real estate. That's great. I don't think that's good or bad. I just know there's a risk tolerance. Some people invest in the stock market. They
Yep.
love that. They and that doesn't give them like sleepless nights. So that risk tolerance, same money, same risk tolerance. We show them how to have more money. And
Yes.
you do that through this velocity of money multiplier effect. There's 50 or more different moves that we can make, and we show our clients how to do that. Then the second thing we do is we attack their budgets. We show them where they're spending money that's out of line and how to correct that. It's not just, hey, man, you're spending too much money on payroll. You got to show them how
Right.
to correct that. You also got to show them how to keep the employees happy, right?
Correct.
So there's non-qualified benefits that we go into and try to help them. So anyway, that's the nutshell. That's the 45-minute commercial right there.
That's a great nutshell, though. So you get to go into practices and help them reach their goals on the business side. You help those owners and those associates really create the life they want, not only now, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and all the way to retirement. So that's pretty
Yes.
cool. Tell me,
Mhm.
so what are some immediate budget things that you could, tips per se, that you could give someone that just felt out of whack, out of alignment? Where do you look at money first? Like, where would you
Okay.
say, hey, this is a great place that you could look at and you can always find some money?
All right. Well, the first place I look at is debt. If we can restructure it, if cash flow is an issue, right?
Right?
There are ways to restructure your debt. And if you understand the system that I introduce people to, they're thinking, oh, great, you're taking me from a 7 year note to a 20-year note. Well, maybe I am temporarily, but if your goal is to pay it off in 7 years,
You can still do
everybody
that.
understands that there's a difference between a monthly note on a 7 year note, right?
Right?
And a monthly note on a 20-year note.
Total
And
difference.
where it's going to be less on a 20-year note.
Right?
Everybody gets bogged down on Yeah, but I'm paying more interest. I go, well, yeah, you're paying more interest if you pay it for 20 years. But what if we took that difference and then something else on their model allows us to pay that off? And then we get a snowball effect going on other
Sure.
debt. They're not out any additional money, right? I'm still taking the same money that they're spending on the 7-year note. So again, it goes back to the principle. You're going to spend the same money with the same risk, and I'm going to show you how to have more money, or translated in this situation, how to have less debt in the same amount of years.
That's
How do you
awesome.
pay it off?
Yeah.
So that debt is usually where I go first if they're
So first
having an
we go
issue.
debt if we're having issues.
Hmm.
What's a misconception that people think when they think about money and saving and debt? Like everybody looks at debt as like the scariest thing in the world, but debt's actually good in business,
Hmm.
right?
Well, it is. So to answer your first question, well, let me go with that. Debt is good um, if it's managed properly. Okay.
There we go. If managed
Listen, you only make so much money, right? So
right,
you better make sure you're managing that debt properly. Uh, if you go broke, right? Like you can't
right.
put food on the table because you're trying to pay down your debt. That's not a smart move.
That's not
So
smart.
just take a hard look at how you're doing that. But I think the biggest misconception on building wealth: high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. That is a lie.
Yeah.
How about this? Low risk, high reward.
Yes.
I'm telling you, you can do it all day long.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
And there are strategies out there that could reduce your risk and give you a guaranteed higher output than you would have had you not put any strategy into it. Okay. Uh, As you know, I'm in law school. So put another way. This is what they say all the time. Put another way. Let's see what the client's doing financially, right?
Right?
And let's show them how to move money properly on a meticulous, guaranteed basis, keeping all things constant, right? So,
Right.
in other words, the Fed rate's going to be the same here if they never met us. It's going
Okay.
to be here. If they never met us, it's going to be here, and they're just out there trying to shoot things down, doing the best they can. If they meet us and we can prove to them these different, what I call money moves,
Yes.
and it lowers their risk and increases their output, that's what they have to do so that we can lower people's risk but give them a higher return than they would have had. A lot of things come into play there, right? We have a taxation system here
Sure.
in America. We have to understand what is current,
Yep.
in our tax code. How do we use that? Are you buying real estate? Do you own your office? Do you rent? All of these things have different strategies. So hopefully I answered your question that debt is good if controlled, right, and
Yes.
managed well. And the biggest misconception is high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. It's a lie.
Absolutely. And then when you see dentists, you usually get them when they're already set up with whatever their 401ks and all their different they've already been sold to all the different products that they need to do business.
Right. Hmm.
What advice would you give those doctors who are already set up to do business and not knowing what kind of products they purchased? They were just
Yeah.
told to buy this, told to buy that. So somebody said get them some liability insurance. They got some. Somebody said, you need to have this will. You got some. Oh, invest here. You did it. There's a better way, correct? There's a
There
little
is.
better
All right.
way.
This is good. I call it the junk drawer mentality. If you go in my kitchen, okay,
Yep.
and Tina says to me, "Hey, I need some tape to wrap a present." No, it's in the junk drawer.
Right.
I also need a pen. Well, the pen's in there too. So are scissors, and so, and
All the things.
so is my weed eater. It's all in there,
Yeah. Right there.
but none of it is coordinated. So here's the
Yes.
key: everybody has a junk drawer, and what you just described are my ideal clients because, right? They don't have to change advisors. That's not it. They got to
Right.
change their way. All right.
Okay.
And and the advisors compete for each other. So every dentist I have, their junk drawer is, oh, well, they needed some liability insurance. Well, I just called my property and casualty guy and I got it, right?
Yep.
I called the local dental association insurance
Yep.
agent. He sold me my liability. Oh, I got a 401k, so I've got that in
Check
place. All
that
my
box.
employees check the box. Yeah, I've got life insurance. I've got disability. I've got, oh, just bought my building, paid cash for it. And they're like, wanting me to pat them on the back. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, when you pay cash, it still costs you what you were earning somewhere else. So you're
Yes.
always financing something. You just got to make them aware. So that junk drawer mentality, the difference is, can you coordinate all the crap in your junk drawer? If you can't coordinate it, I guarantee you, you are losing at least $1 million in your working lifetime. I'm
Oh,
not talking about
wow.
rate of return. I'm not talking about the stock pick of the century. I'm talking about money you're losing that's unnecessary. And so we use a model that shows them where they're giving money away unnecessarily, and then we show them how to recapture that money.
Oh, that's
It's
so awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. So if people want to get a hold of Tony and figure out like how do I make things coordinate, or I'm a new dentist and I don't want to do it the way my dad did it or way my friends did it. I want to start it off right. How do they get a hold of Tony and
Okay.
find out that information?
The two best ways are to go through you,
Oh,
contact you, Holly.
there we
Yeah, well,
go.
contact you or email me at Tony at thetruthconsulting.com. It's the easiest way to reach me. If there is, and there are different ways that I try to take clients through certain tutorials so that they kind of get it a little bit more. But
Yes.
man, your questions have been brilliant. I can honestly say they weren't pre-sent to me, so I love that. I'm so glad. I'm glad we got to talk about the junk drawer. That is so critical. Everybody
Absolutely.
goes through that.
And
Yeah,
everybody's
my
got
best
one.
friend's my State Farm agent. If I need car insurance, I call Wally. That's what I
Yeah.
do. I'm
Yep.
talking about me, right?
Yeah.
And so, is it the right insurance? I now know. I will
Right.
say this too. I want people to have maximum output with minimum risk and minimum input. Now, that is a true statement, and I know that it can be done as opposed to high risk, high return, low risk, low return.
Yeah, and starting off soon, like you get out of school, get a plan, have a nice plan. You're already in a
Hmm.
lot of debt from your student loans. You want to
Hmm.
practice. You're trying to figure out the timing of when do I buy, when how long
Yeah.
do I become an associate for, what should I do? That's the best time to talk to a Tony and get
Hmm.
structured. But
Yeah.
then if you're already doing the gig and you're starting to just think about like, okay, I need to worry about my investments and I need to think about how my future is going to go. Plan out the
Hmm.
next 15, 20 years with good opportunities coming at your door, not missed opportunities where it leaves you in regret. So, Tony, I think that there's so much that you can teach our team members, our dentists, whether you're a new grad or you want to retire or somewhere in between. So anybody that reaches out to Tony at thetruthconsulting.com is going to get a big bang for his buck for sure.
Hey, and let me just close with this. I
Yes,
want to,
please.
to make sure that your listeners get this. Whenever you are sold something, I don't care what it is, a
Yeah.
will, an estate plan, a life insurance policy, an investment. My question to these clients are always, okay, great, you have that in your junk drawer. How do you know they're telling the truth?
Ooh.
My clients, their answer is so repetitive. It's like, well, I mean, he's my cousin. I trust him.
Right.
You've got to get out of that mentality. It needs to be proven to you. You've got to participate in a system that has no bias. It's 100% economic proof, keeping certain variables constant. If you don't do that, you are going to give away well over $1 million you could have had.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
right there is that right there is so much value, is prove that what you got's right and it's right
Yeah.
for you. So I love it. I love that you can share this knowledge with people. You know, we're going to have you back on 100 times over just to give out some
Can't
tips and
wait.
tricks. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
All right, Holly. Thank you.